I want to begin today with a moment that almost no one notices when it happens. It is the moment after the understanding. You have read the articles, you have watched the videos, maybe even the first 3 of these videos. You finally have words for what happened to you. You can name the pattern, the bond, and the slow loss of yourself. But there is a real relief in that naming for a little while. Understanding feels like healing for a little while. And then one ordinary morning, you wake up and you notice something uncomfortable. You understand everything, and you still do not feel free. You know exactly how the cycle worked, and you still feel that pull. You can explain self-abandonment in detail, and you still catch yourself doing it. You have all the awareness, and somehow your actual life has not changed as much as you thought it would. If you have ever felt that quiet disappointment, I want you to lean in today. Because by the end of this video, I want you to understand why awareness was never going to be enough on its own, and what actually begins to change you. Not in theory, in the ordinary fabric of your real days. Stay with me, because this is the episode where understanding finally turns into becoming. We have spent 3 episodes seeing the erosion of connection, the slow loss of self, the invisible bond, and the shame that comes with it. That work mattered, and you needed every step of it. You cannot heal what you cannot see. But seeing was never the destination. It was the doorway. And today, we walk through it. Let me say plainly the thing this whole series has been building toward. Awareness shows you the pattern. Formation builds the person who can live differently inside it. We named this all the way back in the first episode, and now it becomes the center of everything. Because here is the trap that catches so many thoughtful, self-aware people, and almost no one warns them about it. You can become an expert on what hurt you and still be quietly ruled by it. You can know every term, recognize every tactic, see the pattern in everyone around you, and still flinch when someone is cold to you. Still over-apologize, still abandon yourself at the dinner table. Awareness gave you the map, but a map is not the same as legs that can walk the actual road. This is why understanding can start to feel like a cage instead of a key. You see so clearly, and yet you cannot seem to move. And the more you learn without changing, the more frustrated and stuck you feel, because the gap between what you know and how you live keeps growing. I want to slow down right here, because this is the hinge of the whole series. Take a breath with me. There is good news coming, and it is gentler than you think. The reason awareness alone does not free you is not because you are doing it wrong. It is because awareness and formation are 2 completely different kinds of things. Awareness happens in your mind. It is fast. You can gain it from a single sentence. But formation happens in your whole self, your body, your habits, your nervous system, your reflexes. And that kind of change does not come from understanding. It comes from practice, from repetition, from living something over and over until it becomes who you are. You did not lose yourself by understanding the wrong things. You lost yourself through 1,000 small moments of practice in self-abandonment. And so you do not come home by understanding the right things either. You come home through 1,000 small moments of practice in self-return. This is the part where most people quietly hope I am about to hand them a checklist, a system, 10 steps to a grounded self. I am not going to do that. And I want to tell you why. A checklist would actually betray the very thing we are learning, because formation is not a task you complete. It is not a box you tick on a good day and forget on a hard one. It is a slow becoming, and it happens in the texture of ordinary life, not in a weekend of intensive effort. So instead of giving you a system to perform, I want to show you what the work actually looks like when it is real. And it is so much smaller and quieter than you would expect. Let me show you. Formation begins in the gap. There is a tiny space between something happening and your response to it. For most of your life in these patterns, that gap was closed. Something happened and you responded automatically. Someone was cold and you instantly scrambled to fix it. Someone was disappointed and you immediately apologized. There was no space, just stimulus and reflex, like a hand pulling back from a hot stove. The entire work of formation is the slow widening of that gap. It starts the moment you feel the old reflex rising and, just for a heartbeat, you notice it before you obey it. Someone is cool toward you, and you feel the familiar panic begin, the urge to chase, to smooth, to fix. And instead of acting on it instantly, you feel it. You let it be there. You give it one breath of space before you decide what to do. You may still choose to reach out. You may not. The point is not the choice. The point is that there was a you in the gap, present and awake, instead of a reflex running the show. That breath of space is where your whole self is rebuilt. Let me make it concrete the way I like to. Imagine your phone lights up with a message that lands wrong. The old you would feel the spike of anxiety and respond immediately, heart pounding, fingers already typing the apology or the explanation or the careful, soothing reply. The reflex and the action were one motion. The forming you feels the exact same spike. Nothing about that has changed yet, and it may not for a long time, but this time you set the phone down. You let your heart pound. You sit in the discomfort of not having fixed it yet. Maybe you go for a short walk. Maybe you just breathe until the wave passes. And only then, from a steadier place, do you decide whether and how to respond. You did not become a different person. You just lived in the gap for 2 minutes longer than you used to. And that, repeated over months, is what actually changes a life. This is what I mean when I say drop by drop. You were worn down by water and you are rebuilt by water, the same patient way. Let me bring myself in here because I have lived every word of this. My name is Jennifer Six, and there was a long season where I confused understanding with healing. I read everything. I could explain my own patterns better than anyone. And I was still stuck, still flinching, still abandoning myself in small ways every single day, and quietly ashamed that all my insight was not setting me free. What finally changed me was not another book. It was the unglamorous, repeated practice of staying in the gap, of feeling the old reflex and not obeying it, over and over, on ordinary Tuesdays when no one was watching. I am not a therapist and I am not a clinician. I am someone who finally stopped trying to think my way to freedom and started practicing my way there instead. That is the turn I'm inviting you into now. This is also exactly where boundaries stop being an idea and start becoming a body. We have talked about boundaries in every episode. We said a boundary is not a punishment, but a structure that protects what is true. We said the most basic boundary is the one between your reality and someone else's insistence about it. And we said gently that sometimes the most honest boundary is the one you keep privately while choosing safety in what you say out loud. Now, I want to add the part that only formation can teach. A boundary you understand is just a sentence. A boundary you have practiced is a place you can actually stand. Anyone can say the words, "I am not available for that." But to feel the old fear rise when someone pushes against your limit and to stay standing anyway, calm and kind and unmoved, that is not knowledge. That is formation. That is the boundary having moved from your head down into your spine, where it can actually hold weight. And it gets there the same way everything does, through small repetitions. The first time you hold a limit, you will probably shake a little. You will want to over-explain, to apologize for it, to soften it until it disappears. Let yourself shake and hold it anyway. The second time is a little easier. By the 100th time, the calm is no longer something you perform. It is something you have become. The banks of the river do not get built in a day, but every time you choose your own ground, you lay another stone. I want to name something tender here because this work has cost that no one warned you about. When you begin to form a self that does not abandon itself, some relationships will feel the change before you have said a single word. The dynamics that depend on you disappearing will register that you are becoming harder to move, and some of them will push back, not always loudly, sometimes just with a coolness, a distance, a subtle pressure to go back to being who you were. This is the moment that tests everything, and I want you to be ready for it because it is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. It is a sign that you are doing it right. The resistance you feel from the old patterns is the proof that you have actually started to change them. Formation is not just personal. It quietly reorganizes the world around you, and not everyone will celebrate the new you. The ones who only loved your smallness were never really loving you anyway. Let me breathe with you here, because that one lands deep. It is allowed to grieve the people who could only love the version of you that disappeared. That grief is part of the becoming. So let me gather the threads of today, because we have made the most important turn in this whole series. Understanding was never going to free you, and that was never your failure. Awareness lives in the mind and arrives in an instant. Formation lives in the whole self and arrives slowly through practice. They are two different kinds of things, and you needed both. The work happens in the gap, that tiny space between what happens and how you respond. Every time you feel the old reflex and give it one breath of space before you obey it, there is a you in that gap, and that you is being rebuilt. It is small on purpose. The phone set down, the breath taken, the limit held while your hands still shake. None of it looks like much. All of it is everything. Drop by drop, the same patient way you were worn down, you are being remade. And the resistance you meet from old patterns and sometimes from old people is not a sign of failure. It is the proof that the becoming is real. If today met you somewhere true, I would gently invite you to keep walking this series with me. Each episode rests on the one before it, the way real change always has. And if you want to do this work more deliberately, you can find your way to sunnysidelife.com and the reflections and guides built around the Sunnyside Shift, made for exactly this slow, patient kind of inner work. You are not looking for the whole road today, just your best next moment, just the next breath taken in the gap. But before you go, let me leave the door open one last time for this stretch of our journey, because this is a question waiting on the other side of all this becoming. We have talked about coming home to yourself, about no longer abandoning yourself to keep the peace. But there is a fear that lives quietly underneath all of this, and it stops a lot of people right at the edge of their freedom. The fear that if they become this grounded, this clear, this unwilling to disappear, they will end up alone. That boundaries and self-respect are somehow the opposite of closeness. Because in the next episode, we're going to face that fear directly. We're going to explore why becoming whole does not isolate you, but actually makes real connection possible for the first time. And why the goal of all of this was never to protect yourself from people, but to finally be able to truly let the right ones in. I will hold the lamp. You just keep walking. I will see you in the next one.